Here's how you can create these cool dashboards on Excel. It only takes a few minutes, and you can even update and add data to it. I'll show you how. Okay, so to create a dashboard is quite easy. We just need to create pivot tables, then from those pivot tables create pivot charts and link them all together. Now what you need is 3 tabs. The first tab just has your raw data. The second tab, you can call it pivot, you can see at the bottom here. And then lastly, the third tab you can call dashboard. Okay, so this is my data tab, and what I'm going to do is click any cell in this table. We're going to head on over to insert and then click on the pivot table icon. It's going to automatically show you the range of the table, and the table is from row 1 to row 85,203. We are going to increase this row, so the last number in that, we are going to increase it to whatever amount you want. I'm just going to say 500,000 because remember we are adding data. We are going to place our pivot table in a new tab, which is that existing tab that we created. So say existing worksheet, go to your pivot tab at the bottom, and you can place it anywhere. Okay, and you can see that populates, and press OK. So now we're going to choose what we want to see. So for example, maybe I want to see products and the sales that they make. So I'm going to click on product, and I am going to drag it by rows, and I'm going to click on sales and drag it by values. We can see we have our pivot table. Great. Now with that, we need to create a pivot chart. So if you click on the pivot table and you go to pivot table analyze, you should have an icon that says pivot chart. So if you click on that, it automatically creates a chart. Now if you do want to change the chart type, you can. So if we go to design, you can see this icon change chart type appears. And if we click on it, you can select any chart type. Let's do one more chart. So what we can do is a shortcut, because we're using the exact same data source, we can copy the table and paste it anywhere else in the sheet. And now we can just edit this table to have it be whatever we want. So if we click on the table and go to the tab pivot table analyze, and then if you just right click and say show field list, this should pop up again. And now what we're going to do is we can click and drag our old fields out, and let's do some new ones. So let's do order date as rows and then sales as values. Cool. And now we have a pivot table for sales by month. What we're going to do is create a chart. So go to pivot table analyze, click on pivot chart. Now that that's done, let's move on to our dashboard. Once you created your charts, we're going to move these charts to our dashboard. So we're going to select our chart. We're going to right click and say move chart. And now we're going to move object in and make sure you say dashboard and say OK. And now you can see this chart appears in your dashboard. Go back to your pivot tab and do it to all your charts in this tab. Okay, so now we're going to add slicers, which just filter the data. So if you want to click on any chart and go to pivot chart analyze, you're going to say insert slicer, and now you're going to choose how you want to filter the data. So I am just going to choose city and click OK. And now what you'll see is if I click on a city, it will filter. Let's add one more filter, and let's do where we can filter by date. And if you are doing that, what we need to do is insert a timeline. So when you're working with dates, you use timelines. So I'll go to pivot chart analyze, insert timeline, and select the order date. If I select on some order dates, it's just going to filter on the dates, but you'll notice that only this chart filters and not this chart. So to link all our slices together, so click on the timeline or slicer, right click and say report connections, and we are going to link pivot table 4 and 5, which is just our 2 charts, and do the same for all your timelines and slices. And now if I click on the timelines and the slices, you can see that the whole dashboard actually filters, which is great. Now to add data, just go back to your original raw data file, copy and paste the new data underneath your old data, go to your pivot tab and just right click it and say refresh. And then if you go back to your dashboard and refresh all your pivot tables, you'll notice your dashboard is also updated. Follow for more.